Right. Yeah, there's a lot of discussion going on that topic, and because there's such a demand for riding opportunities and there's such a dramatic increase in sales of those types of vehicles, it's kind of making the conversation more lively and more pronounced right now. Yeah. So.
And so you got to respect all the issues because in the wintertime the snowmobiles have a little bit more snow and the ground is frozen and they've got designated routes, and it's a challenge just because of some of the environmental issues of the four wheels. And they're a fun vehicle to ride, but we have to also be sensitive to the environmental impact on those vehicles because of just it's a little bit more sensitive time in Mother Nature.
It is, and the groups that I've spoken to, the four-wheel groups, I encourage them to contact their county governments, talk to them about opportunities locally, and see how maybe the state and a county or a local township could partner to provide local riding opportunities, maybe on some lands that we could acquire locally, as opposed to trying to impose everything on the forest, which we are trying to balance a lot of different management topics on, and look at different alternatives of where they might ride.
Well, we know that woodcock hunting, some of the best woodcock hunting is in Sheboygan and Presque Isle County, and so you got to be sensitive to those, and you got the forestry issues and timber, and the government has been pushing on trying to expand cellulosic ethanol, which is going to put, and so there's just a lot of uses there.
There are a lot of demands from a variety of perspectives.
Okay. Into the future, what do you see? What are some of I know they announced some potential acquisitions and expansions coming up on last Saturday. What do you sort of see coming down, over the next 10 years on the trails?
Well, what I'd like to focus on is, like I mentioned, the state has roughly 1,100 miles of rail corridor. We haven't fully developed its full potential. We have this ownership, and it's kind of been used as it exists right now. We're trying to look at upgrading the conditions of the surface, developing specific trailheads, and on the trail we just mentioned, the North Central Trail, I'm looking at right now we're working on a project with the city of Sheboygan to develop a trailhead there, which actually the city will take over and run as sort of a park facility.
Wonderful.
And then
we came in on the snowmobiles with Senator Thomas and I. It looked like there was the old guys that we're talking about were saying that there was a train that came up through Rogers City to Alpena.
Correct.
And then there was one that came up through Gaylord to Sheboygan.
Right. Yeah.
And that all converged right downtown.
All converged right downtown in Sheboygan. That's where we're building the trailhead. Going to build a restroom facility that'll be heated for snowmobiling, and we're also working on a trailhead project just started off in the village of Millersburg. Which has a depot, and we're working with the Historic Society on their site plan there, and we're going to develop another trailhead facility in Millersburg. Both of these are part of the corridor from Sheboygan to Alpena, which was an acquisition that we worked on through 96 to 2003 was the last piece we acquired. That's the one we'd like to look at next in terms of doing this large scale. It's a 70-mile corridor of surface improvements, and then look at Alpena for a trailhead facility, and then I'd like to do a major facility in Mackinac City for snowmobiling for the winter, and that kind of ties this system together along with the corridor that comes up from Petoskey. So that would be sort of our crown jewel at the tip of the mitt.
That's awesome. Now, it was interesting when they were telling me a little bit about this limestone. How did you pick that, and what are the benefits of that versus asphalt versus other surfaces?
Well, the limestone surface that we saw on the corridor is a mix that we developed with my staff and MDOT engineering staff.
Really?
Yeah, so it's a new mix that was put together for trail purposes that has a real great compaction, fine grain, so it's an accessible surface. It drains well. You notice there were no puddles on the trail,
that's right.
Even though it had rained the night before. And just stands up to multiple uses, horses, wheeled use, the snowmobile use, so it just has a great durability, which means for us not as much maintenance as a paved surface would have, and then the replacement cost for a hard surface. So it's got a lot more versatility for it.
Okay, very good. Next question is, I was talking to some of my friends, and they're saying there's working on a North Country trail it's a hiking trail that starts on the western edge of the UP and then comes all the way down to the state. Yeah. Do you know much about that? And
I know a lot about the North Country Trail. North Country Trail is a part of the National Park Service. The trail itself starts in New York State, and it, depending on your perspective, ends in the Dakotas.
Oh, really?
And it does come up through Michigan, through up the west side of the state predominantly in the Grand Rapids area, then sort of diagonally cuts over from Cadillac and up to the bridge. It's the largest dedicated portion of this trail is in Michigan out of all the other states. So we have a little over 700 miles of North Country Trail in the state. It's primarily a hiking trail. They liken themselves to the Appalachian Trail, but a different experience of going through the Midwest. And they go for more of the remote wooded type settings is what their objective is. And we have been working with them for at least 30 years to help establish this trail and continue to work with them on fine-tuning and doing realignments and just trying to enhance their mission and trying to fit them into our land management objectives too.
And so I assume you go through the federal government property and some of the Manistee
the Huron-Manistee National Forest. Absolutely it does. And so we work with Huron-Manistee a lot in all of our trail systems, not only with North Country Trail, but as I mentioned, off-road vehicles, snowmobiling. We're very active partners with the Forest Service.
Wow. Very good. So if families want to go and learn about these, they can just go to michigan.gov/DNR.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And then go to trails.
It'll be recreation and camping on, I believe, on the left side of the screen if they haven't moved it since the last time I looked. And click on there, and it'll bring up all kinds of options for the different recreation opportunities in the department.
Or if they wanted to, so let's say, type in Emmett County, is there a way to type in Emmett County trails?
Once you get into some of the categories, yes, you can zero in into counties. And in fact, it brings up a map, and you can click on the county maps.
Your top 2 trails you like to hike in northern Michigan or participate in?
I don't want to be biased.
Okay, very good. That's a fair answer.
All right.
I just think it's amazing to see the diversity of the topography. The flora and the fauna is just amazing, and you can go from stuff in Traverse City all the way up to Sault Ste. Marie and have a very diverse areas. And,
it's beautiful.
Islands and Beaver Island and Drummond Island, and it's just absolutely wonderful.
It is beautiful.
Thank you very much for your time today.
You're welcome.
This concludes the Northern Michigan Update, and we want to thank our listeners for participating and watching this today. If you have any questions, you can email us at our website, www.jasonallen.org, or just go to watch this on YouTube by searching Senator Jason Allen. Jim, thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Allen.
Thank you.